Thank you, Dr. Mukisa Kitui. Let me recognize Danny, the MD of Global Events, and also not only recognize but also congratulate Eric Karuhanga, who has just stepped in the big shoes of this man, who has been recognized globally. And we congratulate you, Dr. You know you have done it in the past, and we know you'll do it well. You will be a good ambassador. I did tell you that I don't need to tell you or remind you to be a good ambassador, because I know it is your natural fit to be a good ambassador of this country. And indeed, we are very proud of you for accomplishing that feat. Global Events is an impressive player in oil and petroleum. I just went through quite a brief from Danny, and I've listened to Dr. Kitui, the chairman, the former chairman of this good body, talking about cases, and this is what has been occupying our minds with the cabinet secretary since we joined that ministry, that we want to be a good example of the hydrocarbons in Kenya. We also want to join and partner with our neighbors. I'm just coming from a very important summit attended by the 3 heads of state of Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. And the main subject of that summit is partnership in development of infrastructure, including the infrastructure of hydrocarbons. We talked about the pipeline for refined products from Mombasa, Nairobi, Eldoret, Kampala, Kigali. Of course, you all know that we already have the pipeline up to Eldoret, and that is where Uganda and Rwanda gets their portion of the petroleum and oil products. But we want to move very fast and extend that pipeline to Kampala and then to Kigali. We talked about the crude oil pipeline all the way from South Sudan, Rokcha in Kenya, branching to Hoima in Uganda, up to Ramu, where it can enjoy shipment and transportation, or even refining if need be. So that summit is very relevant to what we are discussing here today. I do know that one of the most important success factor of this industry is setting up of infrastructure, so that by the time your extractive industry reaches what I would want to call its maturity stage, the infrastructure should be in place to avoid wastage and to avoid pilferage, to ensure that the industry itself brings in the benefits to the investor, to the country, and even to the local community. In a nutshell, talking about a win-win-win situation. And what Dr. was saying is the good examples we have seen, and we do have good examples of that industry, enjoys that win-win-win situation. The bad examples don't enjoy that. They either enjoy a win-lose-lose or a win-win-lose situation. In Kenya, And indeed, in East Africa, as a region, we want to see a situation where these hydrocarbons make a difference to the quality of life that our people enjoy, and generally to the economic development of our region. This event, therefore, which I know the content of the materials of this conference is about that, about creating win-win-win situation. It's about creating awareness, giving information, talking about good governance. Daktari has just talked about governance. And you know, when you look at those bad and good examples, it has more to do with governance. It is not about resources, because the resources are there. It is not about institutions, because institutions are there. It is more about governance. And not just governance, but good governance. That is what creates win-win-win situation. And I do emphasize that in these events, in this very important oil and gas summit, which is slated for 29th and 30th of October, let us be very emphatic on those tenets of good governance, which will create a successful hydrocarbon industry for this region, which creates awareness to those stakeholders dealing in this industry to ensure that we formulate models, we formulate mechanisms of creating sustainable structures and sustainable sharing contracts that derive the benefits to all the stakeholders in the industry. I have no doubt that that awareness so created in such events will deliver that result. And I do want to emphasize that it is very important for the stakeholders, even in these summits, because we do have quite a few stakeholders. We've been approached by quite a good number of stakeholders mounting summits and conferences for this oil and gas. I've emphasized that you engage, you partner, you synergize, so that you try as much as possible to complement rather than to duplicate what you are doing. It's very important that you complement. And I have been assured by the team from Global Events that their summit is one of a difference. And I'm very happy to hear that. It is one of a difference. I've been briefed on the content. I'm also very glad to observe that Global Events is ready to engage the stakeholders, including our ministry, so that they can identify the gaps in awareness and focus more in their summit on those gaps, so that, in a nutshell, filling the gaps that exist in the current information dissemination by all the stakeholders who are undertaking this exercise. I congratulate you, Global Events, for focusing in the delivery of service towards filling of gaps. That way, you actually be complementing the other stakeholders in this particular industry. Finally, I want to wish you well in this very important event, and I want to invite the players, all the players in this very important industry, to participate in this important event for the benefit of learning good lessons about hydrocarbons, taking cognizance of the bad lessons and therefore avoiding those bad lessons, and finally creating a sustainable framework for our hydrocarbon industry in the East African region. Thank you very much for listening to me.